do that? What's the best way to do that? What's the best way to look like something's supposed to look in this modern era? We all got started many, many years ago. You didn't have to have anything, just yourself. But today you have to have a website. You have to have an email address that matches the company you're with. You have to be able to show people tools and things that are modern. And of course, in today's world, we've got this whole new era of AI. What does that mean? Is it coming for all of us, or is it just coming to help all of us? And we'll talk more about some of that today. But I'm joined here today with Andy Horner and Carlin Wong. You guys know behind the scenes, they're the ones that help us to do all the things that we do. I don't know what we would do without them. Every single thing that you touch that involves us somehow routed through these two guys, and what they do every day to bring the future to all of us as we want to build a great business here is just something else. So to start with, why don't each one of you talk a little bit about, first of all, the idea behind starting a WealthWaveOne? Why did we do that? And what was it originally designed for? And now what is time and technology allowing us to do now to go into the future?
Well, I guess to start off with my thought around it was, I remember a day where I had 8 appointments throughout the whole day, and an 8 appointment day, even today, would be a really good day, right? Where you had 8 people you were going to talk to about the business. Some are going to become clients, some that are going to look at the business, and I was really excited. And I ended up in that time, that day, I had to drive all around town, like many of you do. I had to try to grab a bite to eat in the middle. And so I'm eating while I'm driving, not the best way to do things, but you just got to do what you got to do. So going to a coffee shop, going to someone's home. And I remember going home that day and my wife said, "How'd it go?" That was a really busy day. And I had at that point realized that at all the results of that day, there were maybe 1 person that did something immediately, 2 that were thinking about it, and the rest were really not the right timing. And that's when I started thinking and seeing the tools that Tom and Andy were coming up with, that I could show a video, I could show a website. What if before I arrived, I had something to work with and it wasn't just a blank sheet of paper? And that's what really excited me about what we were doing here at WealthWave. Now, fast forward to today, when we were crafting WealthWaveOne, it was the same idea. Is how do we add credibility? How do we give our message of financial education? How do we provide education at scale? And how do we make the tools as easy as possible for our team to utilize? And so that's how WealthWaveOne was born out. It was this idea of how do you scale in the high-tech era? And I remember one thing that Tom has always said is that we've always been a high-touch type of business. It's kneecap to kneecap. It's relationship-driven. It's trust-driven. We don't have customers, we have clients. So if you have high touch, sometimes it's hard to do the high volume because you have to be meeting with each person and you have to have those relationships. And but with high tech, that's how you can have high touch and high volume together. And that's what WealthWaveOne has set out to do and will continue to evolve to do so.
Well, as it becomes the operating system for your business, and I can only think back to the computer, and each time a new version of Windows came out or a new version of the Mac operating system, you feel like, I wonder what it does now. And you would learn that all the pieces seamlessly came together better. So for instance, I remember when Windows just used to be a platform, and then one day they decided to add Office to it. And Office meant you had a word processor and a spreadsheet, and you had a presentation program called PowerPoint. And that was way ahead of its time. But we were able to grab that and create presentations we could share with our leaders. So instead of just having to talk by yourself, you could show slides as you talk. And of course, today, that's how everybody wants to see everything. They want to see it and hear it. And now in today's world, as we create things, and technology allows us to go so much faster, not only can we give them a system where they can go out and build their business and have it be very predictable. And I think what happens is our leaders become sort of offensive coordinators of their business. So they're the ones that decide this one should get a text first, this one should get a video, this one should get a snapshot of my website, or get a book or an ebook. You get to pick all those things. But now, where the role I see technology playing is not a role where it does all that for you, but it helps you keep it organized, and helps you keep track of it, and helps you trigger some of it. And now with the advent of AI, I believe that a leader with AI is better than a leader without AI, or AI without a leader. Because AI without a leader, it doesn't have a license, it doesn't have clients, it's not responsible, it can't listen, it can analyze, it can summarize, but it can't listen. But a person can. The one other thing is AI only builds trust to the degree of its most recent answer. So you'll like what it says, and then all of a sudden it says something you don't like or you don't agree with. You say, "Oh, that doesn't know what it's talking about," and so you dismiss it. But you don't do that with a person, because a person could listen, and you can interact with them, and they can hear what you're saying, and they can respond appropriately, and they can sense or talk to you about your level of risk, or your goals, or your dreams, or all the things you want to accomplish. Even if it's just taking care of your family while you're trying to figure all this out. So to me, as AI becomes available, we can weave that into things. When we started calling our team WealthWave, when we became WealthWave, there was no AI, there was barely computers. But now all of a sudden you can weave this AI into it, and it can help us do things bigger and stronger and faster. And I think the role that we're using it for, helping us to get organized, helping us to create leader bulletins and dashboards and things like that. Andy, if you wouldn't mind, talk about, you've been around this since the very beginning of this being an idea. What do you see WealthWaveOne and WealthWaveOne plus all the advantages AI gives us, and all the advantages all this technology gives us, that we can run our whole business out of our phone now, or off your watch, and those different types of things? How do you see that going forward?
Yeah, there was a quote by Steve Jobs, you know this one. He said that the computer is the bicycle of the mind. And I think with AI now, we have the computer and all of the computational power, but now we add AI on top of that, and it's like having the turbojet of the mind. And it's just able to do so many things that needed to be done manually by us, that takes our time and thought energy, and now allows us to offload all of those mental tasks and manual labor to AI. And when we leverage that as a tool properly, we can have a massive advantage in our business. So we have to leverage AI at WealthWave. You have to leverage AI for your business to go and do more, be able to do more activity, follow up better, respond quicker, be more accurate, produce more, communicate better, all of those things, because the competition is going to do it. So we have to be moving at the speed of competition. And for us, that means moving at the speed of contacting. And so what does WealthWaveOne do? Well, it really helps you communicate better. That's really what it was built for. It helps you communicate with credibility, to have the words that you don't have, to tell our story properly, to have the right responses that show that we're different. Sally Hogshead said, different is better than better. So you can be better than somebody else, but a way to beat that person is to be different than they are. And so we have to be different, which we are. Our education makes us different. Our tools make us different. The way that we do things makes us different. The 7 money milestones make us different. But we have to be able to communicate those things to people. And we need AI to come in and to help us to communicate all those aspects of who we are and what we do for clients better, faster, to offload those massive tasks so you can get those things done, to be able to move at the speed of competition, the speed of contacting, which is moving ever faster. And AI is the only way that we're going to be able to do that. We can't keep working harder without those tools and think we're going to keep up and compete. We have to work hard, but we have to have those tools to help us to be able to work harder and faster. That way you can focus on the one thing that you can do, that only you can do, which is to build relationships and to meet the needs of those individuals. The AI has to do everything else. The technologies can help you do everything else in your business, so you can compete and contact at the speed that we have to do today.
Well, I totally agree with everything you're saying there, because I look at even this TV studio here. We had one in our other building, and everything was manual. You know, we had to have someone with a joystick on the cameras, and one generation before that, you had to have a person behind a camera with headphones on and a floor director telling people what to do and where to go. And today, we've got 6 cameras in here that are all controlled by AI. And the AI knows who each one of us is and knows if we like to walk around fast or slow, and it keeps track of all that. And that's just an example of how AI plus a camera, you don't want AI without it, but you put those two things together and it makes them supercharged. And I believe what we're in the process of doing right now is taking our leaders and giving them a chance to become supercharged. Carlin, if you wouldn't mind, talk about what you see coming around the corner here with respect to the I know you do a Zoom, a couple different Zooms on Wednesdays, and share with all of our leaders kind of what you see and where things are headed. But in a show like this, kind of summarize that like AI would, and tell them what's around the corner, what they can expect in the very near future.
For sure. So as Andy was saying, at the speed of contacting, so this has and always will be a contacting business, a contact sport. And so your success and results are a direct correlation to how much contacting you do. So our tools thus far have been focused on you being able to contact someone. However, that contact, when that happens, it almost disappears into thin air. Then it's only in your mind. You knew you contacted that
That's
person.
such a good point. Yeah.
But there's nothing that trails that, and technology can help us with that. So the first thing that we have done is we launched the beta team just a few weeks ago. And so anyone that's interested in joining the beta team is welcome to. All you have to do is talk in the chat right now here and just say, I'd like to be part of the beta. Just put beta. And
What does that beta team mean, Carmen? Just for people that may not know that.
Yeah, so the beta team is we actually enable your WealthWaveOne account with these tools that we are currently building. We're actively building. There's new code pushed out daily, maybe multiple times a day. So you even see things change midday. And so as I was talking about the contacting side, I would send somebody to my website and they would maybe request a book. I'd get an email about it, but that would be it. And so I'd have to remember that I gave this person something, or I have to search through my email. Now we have enabled a beta dashboard that once someone has requested a book, you can see who they are and all the information that they gave you inside the dashboard for the last few months here. So now you have visibility into the book requests, your financial literacy quiz submissions, as well as your shop your term quotes that people have requested. So all that is now inside there. And there's a lot more functionality that I think we'll touch on later on in this talk here.
Well, that's fascinating. You know, when I first heard about AI and it was kind of just starting to come around, and I wondered what Apple's response to that was going to be. And then when they started calling it Apple Intelligence, I thought that was really smart from a branding point of view. But I've always said for 45 years that this business, there's only 2 parts of it you can control: your attitude and your activity. And it's so fascinating to me that both of those start with A. So it could be attitude intelligence and it could be activity intelligence. And I think that's where actually both of those parts, because that's the only thing we can control, we could use some help with. We could use some better technology or something as a better reminder or a better system. And so as we build out and develop WealthWaveOne and it becomes what I think it's going to become, talk about either one of you, talk about what you see on the attitude and activity side. In other words, it's a business of words. What if not only did it know that somebody requested a book, but what if it gave you a suggestion? This is what you might text them, or this is what you might email them. And you could, of course, use it. You could modify it. You could save what you modify, all those kind of things. But you're not starting from scratch. My first couple appointments, I was so bad. I said everything you could say wrong, multiple ways, and got nothing. And there was nobody to turn to. Everybody was so new. Nobody even knew any more than I did. But I can't hardly imagine what it could be like if you could take the words that our best leaders say, people that make millions doing this, and those words became your words immediately because of technology, but also in the context of that exact situation. So that's the intelligence part of it. It knows what you just did, who that person is, what their background is. Say this when you send this. Or if you give somebody a book or you send somebody a video and you haven't followed up because it would be in there, it might say, hey, do you know you gave such and such a book last week and you've got some time tomorrow. How about if I get them on your calendar to call them or and send them this text and let them know it's coming. Those are the kind of things that we could do to help with lots of feedback and input from our leaders and all their great experience. But I'm just always envisioning what it'd be like to be a brand new leader in this industry and to be so excited, but have no earthly idea what to say next in what situation. And I would always be saying, oh, if I could only just say it like Bill Mitchell says it, if I could just say it like James Schwartz says it, boy, they're so smooth. And they are. But what if you could? What if your interactions, both for verbal and written, could be crafted? It helped and supported and nudged. So it wouldn't matter whether you joined the best leader in the whole company or the newest leader, you'd have the same access to the same process and the same way of doing this. Andy, I know you're having a lot to do with we got the best two guys here because we've got all the marketing covered and all the technology covered. But the good news is both of these guys are fully licensed. And so they both they have teams, they have clients, they both deal with technology and they both deal with the business itself and the marketing of the business. So to me, it's like this, we're just one collective. And then the way you guys have embraced all of our senior leaders and have so many of them reaching out to you guys and giving you input and feedback, and as they're all designing their offices and just creating this thing that becomes almost like a vortex that somebody walks into and it goes and just grabs them and gives them this chance to become successful. The size of the problem that you solve ultimately determines the chance to have it become a successful venture. And I don't think there's any bigger economic story than $124 trillion on the move the next couple of decades. It doesn't have instructions today. It doesn't know where it's going to pass through. It could be you and your business. If you're bold enough and smart enough and licensed enough and build a big enough team, you could have that happen. And if it did, that could be a not just once in a lifetime, but once in a generation opportunity to become a successful entrepreneur, minus all of the traditional things that entrepreneurs typically have to worry about. They have to worry about all of their, first of all, money. Isn't it fascinating? We can start this business for the cost of a license, and you never give 1 ounce of a thought beyond that for money. If you do business with a client, the company pays you. You don't have to worry about it. If you recruit a team and one of them makes a sale, you get your override, they get paid. You don't worry about the money. So there's no conscious effort or thought about where the money comes from. What about expanding? Typically, expanding costs a lot of money for an entrepreneur. You got to go open another outlet, another store, another branch, and you got to fill it full of everything and find the property and the lease and the license and all the things that go with it. Here, you just expand at the speed of thinking big. And if it opens, right now our team has 450 offices. I'm just responsible for one here, but yet override 450. That's a real secret as an entrepreneur to be able to have that opportunity. And so in my mind, WealthWaveOne is this thing behind the scenes that's partly invisible and partly always present, that's right behind you every step of the way. So every time you need something, you can go into that app on your phone and you can share a video or share a flip book. You can look up something and see how you're doing or follow up. And as technology and all this new AI stuff helps us to do that better and faster, I really can see the day in the very near future where somebody joins us and they can build a business in a period of months that used to take years, and in years that used to take decades and maybe even a whole career, and they can do it just like that, very predictably. It used to matter greatly who you joined because that was the harborer of all this. But now we're sort of taking some of that away. So it doesn't matter who necessarily, that's always an advantage. But it also doesn't matter where, that geographically you can, because of the internet and technology and AI is everywhere, because it's everywhere, you don't have to worry about being in the center of it because it comes to you. So I think all those are huge advantages as somebody's considering this. And I really believe that when you're reinventing yourself, so you used to be something else, you were a fireman, or you were a coach, or you were a teacher, or you whatever your other background was, is you're reinventing yourself to become a financial professional and a financial educator, you have to look like somebody thinks that looks like. So that means your online presence, your social presence, your the way you dress, the way you speak, the way you're perceived, because this is a business of trust. If somebody's going to trust you with their future, trust you with their money, then you've got to look like something's supposed to look in their mind. If you had $1 million to put in the bank, and you walked in the bank and the banker came out with a Tommy Bahama shirt on and flip flops, you know what you might say? I think I'm in the wrong bank. Why is that? Well, it's because you have an idea in your mind of what a banker looks like that you would entrust with your life savings. I think people feel that way about their financial professional, and they want to know that you have AI behind you, but they don't want you to be AI. Not yet, anyway. I almost can't imagine the scenario with which they would say, "I'm just going to trust all of my money and all my life savings to a little black box that could take it all and disappear." That's not going to happen anytime soon. But they do want to know that there's some intelligence beyond you, behind what you're doing, and that's where I think WealthWaveOne comes in for our leaders, and provides a level of intelligence that you would have to either take 30 or 40 years to build the old-fashioned way, or you can build it by becoming part of WealthWaveOne and hitting one button, and you got that immediate credibility, that immediate visibility. You look like something's supposed to look. Then you just have to, gradually start figuring out how to weave that into all your activity, how to weave it into your attitude about how positive and how upbeat you stay, and just basically how many people you talk to. Everybody you know, everybody you know of, and everybody you meet. Your job is to figure out, what do you say to them and when and how to engage them in the process of shifting them from knowing you, knowing of you, or meeting you, to becoming possibly their educator first, and then their trusted financial professional when asked. What a lucky bunch of people we are to have this moment, and to have all this technology behind us that just, it's almost like it's the wind in your sails. It's right behind you, and it's pushing you forward every step of the way if you just let it. And so in my mind, I can't imagine somebody trying to do this business without having a web page, or having an email address that matches the company you're with. If you talk to somebody and they tell you they're with Apple, and they send you a Gmail, you're probably thinking, "I thought he said he was with Apple." It's the same way here. I feel like your email has to match up with what you're doing, either How Money Works or WealthWave. And when you look at a business like this, and this kind of technology, to be able to have the economies of scale, where instead of you having to go put this whole thing together, create it all and write it all and pay for all the technology and pay for all this team, this infrastructure, you do nothing but pay one little small piece of it, and you get access to all of it. And you guys spend every waking hour thinking about how to position each of our leaders so they can go faster and do it better and build it bigger, and just have this incredible business that almost takes a life of its own. And the role that technology can play in that, the role that recruiting and building a bigger team can take in that, you're helping to facilitate that with every step. And so to me, that's one of the smartest things an entrepreneur, a business leader could ever do, is to find somebody to sort of be your person behind the scenes that makes all this go. Almost every TV show you watch these days, there's the person that's the main lead actor, and then there's the person behind the scenes making the computer do the song and dance, that can track you down, or it can break into anything. And it's like this technology is always there. You can't do anything today without having technology. And for our business, to have it be such directed technology that's so perfectly matched to what we do, that it knows not only the business, it knows your business. It knows every single thing that you're going to know and think about and want to say and want to show, and how to do it. And so to me, having these tools that are so customized for what we do, means that you, for what is it, $50 a month, you have this this system behind you that allows you to sit down with somebody and just know that you have every single advantage you could possibly have to serve them properly and to serve them well. And that's all the advantage all of us need to be able to do this. So, so to talk more about some of the features and some of the things that I know you guys are working on, share some of that and let everybody know what you're thinking.
Really? Well, where we are right now is the ability to track your personal activities. So as Tom was saying, what Andy and I have discussed is about having the numbers are really easy to see, the way Tom puts it, activity intelligence, so that you can see what's going on. And just to give you an example, we also have a leaderboard that puts everybody in beta currently and all their numbers. And so yesterday we pulled it up and I was shocked to see a number that was on there because every month it resets. So we're at July 1st yesterday, which is Canada Day, by the way. we celebrated Canada Day yesterday.
I saw that.
And on the leaderboard for how many works book requests was 83 requests for someone, Lester Barrett. And we immediately went back and we looked at the data and said, did we get something wrong? Did we have a algorithm that just went off? It was 1 day. 1 day. So it's only calculating 1 day, 83. And so I contacted Lester today and I said, what's up with that number? I mean, it's fantastic, but how do you get 83 people? Because we verify the data is real and our algorithm is accurate. And he said, oh, I had a meeting with 200 people that day, and that's them responding.
That's incredible.
And so that immediately was like, well, that's incredible. So the leaderboard showed us somebody is leading the way. There's 83. And he said tomorrow, so Friday, July 3rd, he has a meeting with 400 people scheduled. So with that same ratio, if 200 brought 40% of them came in and requested a book, so it's 83. Then if he does a 400 person meeting, that'll have 160 people on top of the 80. So we're expecting that Lester is going to have, over 200 requests for how many books by tomorrow. So what that should do for you is the activity intelligence. You start seeing, okay, so about 40% of people who come into my meeting will request a book. How do we get that to 50? How do we get that to 60? Maybe we make it easier. Maybe we give them a QR code or we give them something to take home. And that should give you that intelligence to realize how do we maximize that. So that's one of the big features, your personal. We also have the team dashboard where you can see your team and their activity. So you see all the numbers, it lists all your team people in your organization, and then the total numbers for financial literacy quiz, for shop your term, for the money books requests. All that is put into there with the dashboard. And the newest feature that we just introduced is the contact manager, where we take the contacts from all those different areas and kind of consolidate them.
You almost just brushed over that one at the end there. Think about that, a contact manager. Where is the contact manager technology going? What's at the beginning of, Carlin?
Well, it is the beginning of what we have been talking about since the beginning, Andy. So it is the CRM. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the direction that we're heading? Because we're going from contact manager, and you talk about one of the biggest challenges is manually putting in data.
Yeah. So in the world of CRM, the entry of data by a salesperson, business person, is referred to as clerical data entry. That means that somebody's got to sit down at a keyboard and key in all of the names off of a business card or a LinkedIn profile or whatever you took down from that person. And that takes a lot of time. And the truth is, all of us hate doing that. We'd rather be talking to people and working on cases and going out meeting people. So we want to develop a contact manager and a CRM that really gets away from the clerical data entry as much as possible and uses the technology to gather the data. So here's an example. You have a new prospect, a lead, and you want to get their information so you can start communicating with them. But you don't want to take the time to put in all their information because you got a lot of other people. So you send them the financial literacy quiz in a text message with a nice quick little message, which are the kind of things you guys like to do. All of us do. They get the message and you've prepared them, so they take the quiz. They get value out of that. That was great. Those were good questions. I see here my score is 78 out of 100. I could do better. I wonder which questions I got wrong or got right. You delivered value. It was an impressive process. I feel like I just began something with you by finding the starting point of my financial literacy journey with you. But what do you get from that? Well, right now you get an email with some of that information in it. But what if that information came into the CRM? It populated their contact record rather than you keying it in. And then we now have their demographic information. We know what they're interested in. We know who they are. We know how much money they make. We know what part of the country they're from. We know a little bit about their background. And we can then start using that information to start to communicate with them for you, sending them messages, sending them information, sending them downloads, sending them content, delivering them value. But then also inside that contact record, you can go check it out after lunch because you were doing important things, not clerical data entry. And then you can see that, ooh, they took the quiz. And now I can see which questions they got right and wrong right there inside the CRM. I can see that their contact information is nicely stored right inside the record. I can see that they're already starting to get some messages from me. I can look at their demographics and see a little bit about them, who they are. Maybe because they're this kind of a person, they might be interested in the women's book, or they look like they're in their 20s and 30s. So maybe I'll give them some information or write them some information that's more next generation related. And all of that comes from having this information inside the CRM and the contact record. But the great part about it is that you're leveraging the technology to do the data entry for you by giving value to the client, the lead and the prospect. They're getting value by taking the quiz or going on Shop Your Term and getting a quote, or going on your How Many Works website and requesting a book. That communicates value. But they're also doing the work for you of putting the data into your contact manager, so you don't have to do that, and it starts messaging and doing some of that work for you. So we're really leveraging technology. And the AI, how does that factor in? For some of you guys who are my age and older, we don't really know what AI means. It's abstract. Everyone out there is talking about AI. I'm kind of mostly just using it for putting it into ChatGPT and it writes an email for me. But what's happening out there in the bigger world? Is it scary, or is it just a great tool? Well, it's a great tool. And here's why. Because behind the scenes, with all that data that the contact put into your system for you and is now living inside your contact record, inside your CRM in WealthWaveOne, AI comes behind that and starts looking at that information and querying and looking at that data, and it starts to do things. Now, you're still at lunch. You're not on your computer, but AI is working for you. It's looking at that data. It's checking out what messages you might want to send. It's packaging up a new message for you to send out. It's creating some follow-up. It might even be moving along them inside a pipeline inside your CRM to kind of move them from this column to that column because they just completed this step. They're ready for this step. When you come back from lunch, AI says, I did this. You also might want to know about that. We're going to go ahead and send this message to this person. And can you please approve this so we can send this out the door? At that point, it's literally like having an intelligent assistant working for you while you're doing all the stuff that only you can do. So we're overcoming clerical data entry, the part about CRM we all hate. We're leveraging AI by doing all these background tasks for you that you don't have to think about anymore. It's using all of our material, all of our content, all of the words, all of the brands, all of the imagery that we use as part of our story and our branding. It's using all of those things to create things and preparing them for you to send. Now, if you feel like that's a little scary, and how do I control all that power, right? Well, just know that it's all being done for you to then permission, okay? So it's gonna do things and then ask for your permission. Hey, does this look okay? Can we send this? Would you like to edit this before it goes out the door? By the way, you haven't contacted this person in a while. Here's something you might want to say to them. So it's really doing the work for you, but you're the gatekeeper. You're the one that's in control, and you're the one who gets to say what goes, what doesn't go, what needs to be edited. You approve things. So just know, even though it's very powerful, you're going to be the one who permissions everything. So you still have total control of what's going out, what's happening. It really just gives you all this great power and then puts it into your hands. So this is what we mean by CRM. This is what we mean by what's coming with WealthWaveOne. What Carlin's talking about this line of sight, being able to see the activity of your team. Well, how wonderful is that? If I'm Rudy Lazary, who is the leader for the great Lester Bear, and these are two incredible leaders in our team, Rudy can not just see what Lester's doing, but he could say, Lester, I see that you had 82 people following up with this. How can I help out? What can we do? Is there something that you did with this meeting that you feel like pushed meetings forward to get 200 people onto a call? How can we do this for some of the other leaders on your team? How can we roll this out to the rest of the field? What can I do to help you follow up with some of these guys? So that activity, not only can we create contests and leaderboards and competition with all of that, but it also now allows you to be able to see what's happening inside your business. Who's active, who's not, who's moving, who's not, who's stuck, who's moving quickly. All of those things really matter. And Tom Matthews has been leveraging leaderboards for many, many years. When you see that somebody else just did 82 and you just did 3 in terms of book requests, the first thing you're thinking is, how did they get 82? And what might have been a limitation for you of, I'm just going to try to get to 5 next month, you might now be thinking, forget 5, how do I get to 82? And you start asking questions and you start doing things differently. We start competing with each other. We all start moving at a different pace, at a different rate, sharing information and challenging each other, and everything grows. Your business grows and WealthWave grows. Your team's business grows. So all that is what's going to happen here. This is really about leveraging technology to go from a computer being the bicycle of the mind to us leveraging AI to now being able to have a turbojet of the mind. This is about speed, it's about growth, it's about blowing past old limitations, setting all kinds of new horizons for ourselves, and really taking WealthWave and 10xing this for everybody. That's what this is about.
And just when the old adage that when performance is measured, performance improves.
Yes.
So it was actually 83.
It was 83.
Yeah, so,
don't forget that one. But with those 83, right? Some of those book requests are for the women's book.
Mhm.
Some of the book requests are for the next gen book.
Right.
Some are for the original green book. Some of them might be for the Change Your Literacy book. Which different conversations are going to happen there? What does that mean about that person? How do you respond differently? Well, you're going to need help. When you have 83 book requests coming in, you're going to need help with the follow-up on all that.
Yeah, and that brings up a really great point. So the dashboard currently will log which book they're actually wanting, and they can choose multiple books. Now, it might seem like an insignificant thing, but knowing what book that they wanted, or if they clicked all of them, I think there's a difference. I think if someone just says, I just want this one book, or I'm just requesting because you told me to, but they like check off everything, they say they want everything, that's somebody you should be following up with immediately. Why do they want everything? They must have been, there was an impression that was left with them that there's something they need to do. And so all those data points we were not able to see in the past or really easily visually, but now you can. And one of the exciting parts that we always talk about at lunch is we've typically created tools to help you with the prospecting stage of our business. Mm-hmm. So we go from prospecting to approaching contact. But what about your team and tools for your team? Well, inside the dashboard right now is a team dashboard. And in the contact manager, we have both your prospects and a team section too. And where we're planning to take the team part is, what if there was a way for us to show you who's licensed and who's not? And what licenses do they hold? And which states are they in? What if there was a way to see an entire map of your business and say, wow, I got a real hot zone right over here, kind of spread thin in all these other areas. Why is that? Right? I'd like to be more active in Arizona or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. And so thinking about being able to visually see that. So that's really where we're headed, is tools for you as the leader to be able to grow your team. And what if there was a way to also send a message to your team easily and say, John Smith just got licensed. Congratulations. And all that, it builds that team environment, is all part of our business and so critical to it too.
Well, it sure is powerful. I can't tell you how exciting it is to see it coming together. And knowing that we're just right around the corner from being able to have access to all of the WFG back office information and have that be able to funnel in there so you can really see the points and the recruits and the history and all the things. And when you put all of that together into one place that has every facet of your business, from the existing business to the prospecting and contacting and activity part that drives the future of your business, then I think you've got everything you need to become as successful as you want to turn the knob. And what a wonderful time it is to be in this business. It's never been like this. Everything's always been so manual and so personally driven by just your own abilities. And to add the expertise and all of the success, like for instance, next week we're going to interview Lester, and success leaves clues, and we're going to find out what he's doing and how he's doing it, and we're going to share that with you. But there is a piece, obviously, of what he's doing that involves our technology and our tools. So if you can't copy that part, then you wouldn't be able to attain the success and the kind of speed like he's doing it. So that's a whole nother way to look at this, that obviously he's got some advantages, but it's not an advantage you can't have if you're with us, because we all have the same advantages.
I kind of think about when you had the VHS tape,
Yeah.
Tom, and you had this incredible video, and if only you could get that into the homes of all your prospects,
Right.
and then put it in the VCR player and then play and get their attention for a couple minutes, that would have set the stage for the next step. And I think about how much those VHS, how much did the VHS tapes?
$5.
$5 each. And I believe you had a moving truck full of them.
To say hello was $5.
Right.
Plus brochures, plus mail, plus long distance phone call, all those
And then
things.
you had to physically deliver it, or you had to mail an entire package, FedEx it, and you couldn't do slow snail mail. You had to do it within a day or two, or they forgot
Right,
about
right.
you. And I think about today, where for the cost of $40, $50 a month, you have unlimited videos that you could be sending to somebody. And you have brochure sites, you have emails, you have all these things that if you had only $5,000, you could only buy 1,000 VHS tapes.
That's right.
So that means that you could only pass out 1,000 at a time and then wait for revenue to come in and then rebuy more and then keep
Right.
going. Today, you could do 1,000 today, or you could have a 200-person meeting and have 80 people request for the same amount as 800 people requesting.
Yeah, but there's a limitation there that we've always gone up against. You know, I've been studying and working in the world of follow-up most of my career. And one of the problems with follow-up, and they say, which I believe is true, that almost no one does follow-up well. And the question is why? Well, the reason why is because we only have so much thinking time during the day. And when we're putting our mind on an appointment at 10 o'clock a.m., and then I have another one at lunch, and then I have a few things I got to do, our mind is now thinking on those things. So to sit down and take a break from that to do follow-up work means to put our thinking onto something completely different from yesterday, right? Or from the day before, or from that morning. And it's just difficult to switch your mind around that way. And I think that if I was, back there with the VHS era, I have to go home and think about, okay, I have 2 hours this afternoon that I have free after appointments. I'm going to go ahead and ship out some VHS tapes, right? That takes different type of thinking, different preparation. And it's just, and we've got a lot of time to do that. That's part of discipline. But today we're moving so fast, we're doing so many things. It really comes down to what can only you do. And that is really the relationships and serving the client as a human being. Only you can do that. AI cannot do that part for you. And anybody who tells anybody else, I have a business and AI does everything for you, they're lying. AI will never do that part for you. But we still have to do all of those tasks of shipping out those VHS tapes that today are in the form of articles and videos and follow-ups and text messages and emails. So we need to leverage the technology to put those things in the mail for you, to write the letter for you, to respond to the person for you. And we have enough data now digitally to be able to do a lot of that. We just need a smart helper. And that smart helper is the technology plus AI. And so I would say this, that if you think about your business right now, and you think about if someone took your phone away from you and your computer away from you and said, you need to work the next 6 months without them, how well would you do? Right? It would be impossible. You have what? Maybe call them on an old phone, get some paperwork out, put things in the mail. It wouldn't work. the ridiculousness of that, we're going to feel the same way another year, 2 years about doing this without these AI tools and these technologies. Without them, you won't be able to catch up. You will think that it's like they took all your phone and your computer away from you. We're going to be living using AI as our sidekick, as our helper, as our assistance. It's just where it's going. So we have to embrace this now. We are going to be the leaders in it like we are in everything. We're going to be the ones to pioneer it. We're going to be the ones to figure it out. We're going to be the ones to perfect it. We're going to be the ones that make it different. And it's going to be like I always say with marketing, marketing should be one of our greatest recruiters. Because we have such great different marketing, it helps recruit people. Well, this technology is going to do the same thing. It is going to be the thing you show people. You're going to turn your computer around, show them your phone, and be like, look what our technology is doing for my business. And when they see that, they're going to see this as even a greater disparity between what the competition can do and offer to then what we do. And this is going to become one of the greatest things that you show people to very easily say, this is why you have to choose WealthWave. Not just because our mission is better, which gets to the heart of people and really makes people want to spend the rest of their careers doing what we do, but they're going to look at this technology and be like, not only do you guys have the best mission in the industry, you guys have the best technology in the industry that actually will enable my business. And it's going to be another reason why they say, I'm going to stop doing what I was doing. I'm going to stop thinking about new ideas. This is what I want to spend the rest of my career doing. You've got the technology, you've got the mission, you've got the team, you've got the leadership to do it. And this is going to be something that we rely on, just like we do our computer and our phone. Wouldn't you agree with that, Tom? That just
Totally.
that dependence?
It reminds me of what happened when this happened the first time around. Back in the 90s, as this thing called Windows was invented and laptop computers, and at that point in time, basically all you needed was a landline telephone and you could become a business person. And all of a sudden in the early 90s, that shifted, and you had to become a person with a laptop that had presentations and proposal software and studying software and all the stuff that could assist you. And what ended up happening is we built one of the largest laptop armies ever. And at that time, that was the third biggest expense of your life behind your home and your car. Your number three was your laptop. It was $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, but you couldn't afford to not have it. And if you did, look where the advantage it gave you. And most of the people that joined us in the 90s joined us because of our technology. And though now today's world, everybody's kind of caught up to that. Everybody's got laptops, everybody's got computers everywhere now. That's accepted. But now this next era to me is just deja vu all over again. We've got one more chance to be the leader, to be ahead of everybody, to have it not just as good, but way better in every measurable way. And so I'm very thankful for both you guys and your teams, Charlie, who used to work at TikTok, and these people that are helping us to create this stuff and make it have a chance. I mentioned TikTok a second ago. One of the reasons I was so excited to meet Charlie is because we've never really used the word viral or sticky with our business. And what if it could become that? What if the getting of referrals and the sharing of things became such a thing that not only did we do it, but our clients, our contacts did it, and our teammates did it in a different way. When I started, I had to make myself a 25 name list for people I knew and knew of, but I had to go find their number, and it was just everywhere, kind of scattered. And then you got 25, that's it. Sometimes you had 50 if you're a little older, maybe. I was 22 when I started. But today, everybody's got one of these in their hand, and the average one's got a couple thousand contacts in it. And you wouldn't have them in here if you didn't have their contact phone number and their contact email address for many of them. So all of a sudden, now we just got to figure out, how do you get it from here to your wallet? How do you get it from here to serving them and helping them, but have some of the potential for building a business come to you?
Yeah, to that point, Tom, there's something else, coming with our technology. And I know that there's a lot of people on here today that are thinking about, I'd love to know the specifics about what you guys are going to be releasing. And I think that responding exactly what Tom's talking about, where we're going with the technology is going to be very much about getting data in. We've discussed that, right? Getting data in from your clients, getting information in, being able to see that data, as Carlin was talking about, that all the activity intelligence, and being able to see these dashboards and team dashboards and leaderboards. and then leveraging that activity, all that data, by sending out messages and packaging things up for you and helping you to do more and send more, move people through pipelines. Yes, all of that. But also, we're going to be in this next era, we're going to be creating tools for the consumer, for the client. And where we're going to focus that is going to be on the money milestones, which, if you really think about our business, it's the core. Everything we do is about running people lovingly through the money milestones to help them. That's why we've named ourselves the Money Milestone Company. So we are going to be providing technologies that connect inside of WealthWaveOne, but also on the handset phone of the lead, the prospect, the consumer, your clients, that help them go through the money milestones, walk them through visuals, calculators, processes, completing tasks to get them through each of the 7 money milestones, starting with education, walking through the education right there on their phone, going through each of the 7 money milestones, through the processes for each, being able to track meters and progress bars, and being able to see how far you have to go, calculators that help you figure out how much money you need to plan for. And you're going to be working with the consumer, the client, directly. So you'll be able to see them inside WealthWaveOne. All that activity be right there for you to visualize. And then they'll visualize it on their phone, be able to see it, the client. So you're working back and forth, communicating through the app, completing things together. But then also, that activity coming into your WealthWaveOne account from their app is going to help you to be able to leverage AI and the technology to be able to communicate with them, take calculations and be able to formulate reports and plans and strategies back to that consumer through the app. So these things are already being done out there in lots of other industries. We're going to be leveraging a lot of that. So can you speak to some of that, where we're going with that, Carlin?
Yeah, a couple things. A lot of the features that we're talking about today exist right now, and they work right now. So if you're interested in joining the beta team, all you have to do is just comment beta in the chat here, or log into your WealthWaveOne account, click the little chat icon on the bottom right, say beta. We know exactly who you are if you're logged in, so we can enable your account and you'll start seeing the features that are there. And then secondly, Tom did mention about success leaves clues. So next Friday, tentatively right now, we're confirming with Lester, but 2 p.m. Eastern time, which would be 11 a.m. Pacific time, Tom is going to be interviewing Lester about his explosive book requests time. For the first meeting, we should have over 100, maybe 200 requests by the time we reach Friday. So make sure you join that. I think we're going to be posting it in the comments right now for you guys to join that. And we're going to keep showing you more. Really, ultimately, the tools that we're coming up with, like the calculators, we have had calculators in these last few years inside WealthWaveOne. We're reimagining them. In fact, some of the calculators will help you with recruiting by showing somebody what one of them is going to be an income calculator. What if you could add an extra $5,000? What if you could add another $100,000 a year? What could that look like if it was $500,000 a year? So that you can dream. And what if it was $1 million a year? So things like that you can slide it, and if you have a prospect there, I've seen Tom do it, where we created one just as a test, and it's like you're just sliding and you're talking, and just let the numbers speak for itself, right? So all these tools are coming very, very soon that will allow you to interact at a different level with them. The tools that we do have right now are going to track all the activity on your websites. Next thing that is coming is the ability to add your own contacts. So if they don't come in from the website, and yes, there's a little bit of clerical stuff. Eventually, you have to do a little bit of clerical stuff. And so when you have that contact in there, we want to make it really easy to then share the financial literacy quiz with them, to share Shop Your Term, to share the howmanywords.com websites. And so it should be working in tandem on both sides.
Carlin, I hear them asking the question right now, is this going to integrate with my CRM that I already have, like Redtail or something else?
Well, certainly we're going to make it, and everything's on the table. And so whatever we need to do to help support you on those sides, we will. Just in terms of, I know a lot of you guys are using Redtail and Wealthbox and all those things there. So for the security side, I think definitely there's some things we're going to be doing to help integrate that. But of course, what we're excited about for WealthWaveOne is this is going to be the core of your business. You're going to have a command center where you'll be able to have all the activity intelligence that you need to know where to move forward, whether it's a contact, like he's a prospect, or it's a team member. How do you continue to move things forward? We're really excited because this is going to be all you need inside WealthWaveOne.
Yeah, and just in terms of communication, please join the beta. You're all invited to it. We're doing the beta because we need you to come and give us feedback. We need to see the data. We need to really start to perfect these tools and learn from them. So it's really about us learning from you using it. So please come help us with that. Also, we are planning down the road at our Green Carpet Days, maybe even starting as soon as the fall, is starting to having Training Thursday, where we're going to invite WealthWave Nation to come in and be here on Thursday, where we're going to do training here in Vision Theater on our technologies. Because as we're rolling these things out, we are going to have to work together to step to speed on what's new and to learn these new tools. And so we're going to be doing lots of focused training. And at some point, every Thursday before Green Carpet Day on the Fridays of that month, we'll be doing extensive training. So you'll be able to bring your new people in, let them see it, touch it, see what we're doing, ask questions. And we're going to try to advance everybody across the chessboard in terms of learning these technologies and getting familiar with them and seeing them. And then lastly, in terms of the communication, we are going to be really trying to do a great job with sending out email information with videos and maybe roundtables like this, but also short webinars where we can show you new things. So we're going to tell you about them on email. We're going to put them in WealthWaveOne and having conversations and training like this, because this new era is going to require that we just do a really great job of training you and your team, showing you everything that's new, and making sure that we do the best job we can informing you about how to use these things and knowing what's coming out. So just know that that's on our minds. And we're going to try to do a great job with making all of that available to you.
So to get the timeframes of this right, what you're saying is that the beta is going to go between now and the end of the year. And then right after the first of the year, we're going to take this thing live. And of course, at our convention at the end of January, we're going to be able to basically have this be one of the big announcements that your wildest dream has now come true, that you've got something for your clients, and you've got something for your leaders, and for yourself, that you can mesh all this technology and internet and AI world together and have it be literally one of the most innovative things that's ever hit the largest industry in the world. And that's what we're doing. So it's very exciting.
We're calling the convention Showdown, and it's a Western theme, but the name is Showdown because we really believe that this moment is the showdown between us and the industry in terms of us realizing our mission at WealthWave, and technology is going to help us do that. So we're going to be not just having a showdown with the industry, but we're going to be giving you guys a showdown with your goals, a showdown with your limitations, a showdown with all of the great plans you have for the future, and be able to win and be victorious in what you're trying to accomplish. So this is going to be a really big moment for WealthWave.
Well, on behalf of all of our leaders out in the field, I want to tell you guys thank you for what you're doing. I know it's not easy, and I know it's not 9 to 5. You guys are thinking about this 24 hours a day and doing it from early in the morning till late at night every day, and weekends and holidays. And this weekend's July 4th, but I also know that that's just another day that ends in Y for you guys. So I appreciate all that you do, and I know our team does and our leaders do. They appreciate everything that you guys are doing around the clock to make all this possible. It is not easy or inexpensive to figure out how to take the greatest technology that's ever hit mankind and weave it into the greatest business that's ever hit an entrepreneur, and make all that function and work smoothly with people that are not high tech, and in many ways are the opposite of high tech, and been doing this for a long time without any of this. So I congratulate you guys on what you've done so far. I see a lot of it behind the scenes, and I can tell you that it's going to blow their minds. When they see and understand what's really gone in behind this, they'll realize this is not just one of a kind. This is one on the planet. It really is.
It's not easy, but we love making these tools for you guys. We absolutely love it.
You guys are the best, and I appreciate you very much, and everybody else does too. So thank you. And with that, we'll see you guys next week.